This is another piece of tool steel that I got. It's a little bit wider here. This is actually ½ inch by 5/8 of an inch, but it'll grind the very same way. First thing that I do is make sure my wheel is nice and flat. If you guys don't have one, this is a really cheapie that I got from Shar's. I think it was less than $15. In case you don't know what this is a wheel truing device. Basically, you set this on your rest and you move it back and forth while the grinder is moving to make this surface parallel, or not, excuse me, not parallel, perpendicular to what you're grinding. Something you always want to keep around too is some water to cool your bit off. You can wear gloves doing it, but one way of making sure that you don't overheat your high-speed steel is to use your hands. If it's too hot for you to grab, that's your cue to quench it, and if you do that, you'll very rarely overheat your tools. I'm no means the safety guy or anything like that, but you do have a wheel here that is turning at tremendous speeds, and it loves to eat knuckles and stuff like that, so keep your wits about you while you're grinding on this. Eye protection is always a very good thing to have, and just a second here, we'll go ahead and start the show. Okay. First thing I like to do here is start rounding off the front. Put too much of a radius in any part of your wheel. It's starting to get a little bit on the warm side, so I'm going to go ahead and dunk it. As you can see, it's starting to take on a rounded shape. Now, we're going to want to put a little bit of rake on it. So you got to decide which side is going to be the front and which side is going to be the rear of the tool. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and mark here an X. That's going to be the front of my tool. Okay, so if that's going to be the front of my tool, I'm going to want to angle this backwards. Give myself a little bit of a rake here. Clearance angle. Simply to do that, all you do is turn this a little bit sideways on the table. Okay, see how it's starting to form? Just keep on cutting this back edge back until it meets up with that. You could even turn it over if you wish. Just try and keep the same angle. Starting to get warm again. Okay, and one thing also to note is that this tool will not be completely symmetrically round. When it's in the machine, I usually feed my work from left to right. In doing that, what I basically do for this, it's kind of a less of a radius on this side, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that in just a second here. You look at the shape of the tool here. It's actually a little bit flatter in trajectory right in here. Still retains a round nose and finishes off with the round side there. This basically what it does is it kind of pre-cuts as you're moving along. The main brunt of the cutting will be very much right here on the tip, but if you're taking very deep cuts, this kind of relieves the cut in front of it, so you aren't taking quite as heavy as a cut. You're still taking a heavy cut, but it's more of a hollow as you're going. I hope that explanation serves well. But basically the proof's in this. Since the tool will be moving like this, the work will be moving into this tool. It is slightly flatter on this side of it, so it kind of cuts a little bit into the next cut as it's going before it indexes. The main part of the cut is right there. Okay, kind of a generous angle there. And now, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start relieving the front. Now, I usually pick a spot on the grinding wheel. I invert the tool. Start moving along the face. We get quite a shower of sparks off of this, but I keep moving until I get sparks coming over the top of the tool, or until it gets too hot to hold. Okay, it's starting to make a little bit of a depression in it. Now something else that I like to do with it is since we're going to be cutting in that direction, I try and cant the tool just a little bit this direction to create a hollow this way. That way when the tool is moving towards it, it will curl the chip kind of away from the work. I kind of hold the tool at, I don't know, I would call it probably a 15-degree angle to the axis of the grinding wheel. And as you can see, it's making almost a spooning type of effect to it. We're just going to stay on it. Got to kind of feel around for where you were just the last time. Okay, starting to get a little bit of sparks coming over the top. And that way that I know I'm all the way at the top of that. If you can see it, it's a nicely hollow ground, almost a spoon type of effect. And then, I guess we don't really need this no more. I didn't match my angles very well there. I came off of there, but it really doesn't matter how pretty it looks. The effect will still work the same. Let me grab a sharpening stone and I'll show you how I hone this real quick. Okay. I just so happen to have one of these triangular stones. Kind of like this little radius here on the bottom side of it. I basically roll over both sides of it, and I come to the back side. Now this is a roughing tool, so this isn't completely necessary. It'll still operate even if you beat the crap out of it. But for first 100 strokes or whatever, it really makes a nice chip, even in some unknown crap. Just beating this radius up in the middle of it. We'll come back to the outside of it. Try and knock off any and that is the finished tool. It has a nice edge right there to help start the cut. This is the tallest part of the cut, which is quite sharp. It continues sharp all the way around, and this is made for digging off some metal. The cant of this is slightly this way, so the chip will curl like this.